Okay, foods offered to idols, part 2. Now, before we start, I want to hop to Mark 7 and go to 19. So you'll notice on verse 7:19, you have the words in red of Yeshua. For it doesn't go into their heart, but into their stomach, then goes out of the body. In saying this, Yeshua declared all foods clean. You notice how that last part is in brackets? That means it was added later. It's completely out of context of the rest of the verse, which is about hand-washing rituals of the Pharisees, okay? So I just want to point that out now so that we can kind of have that conversation another time if we need to. But yeah, that little bracket deal, that means it was added later. It wasn't in the original text. And so there's a context issue there that the church really needs to face. Okay, there we go. Back to Balaam and Balak. So Balaam and Balak were trying to curse Israel. They couldn't do it because God had already blessed Israel. So instead they decided to sneak in a stumbling block. So what do? Well, they seduce them to worship other gods. And they do this by using pretty ladies and a feast and festival. Okay? So they have a feast and festival, and they have pretty ladies, and thus the men worshipped other gods, and they bowed before them. Gods meaning little g, demon gods, not the real thing. So I want you to notice, if you go to Numbers 25, that they had a sacrificial meal and bowed down before these gods. So it's always about a feast and festival, and they have a feast and festival, and then they incorporate the symbols of this god into the feast and festival, okay? So I want you to think about the modern day versions that this might look like, okay? Feasts and festivals that have a bunch of symbols and stuff that have nothing to do with scripture, yet somehow the church has been seduced into celebrating them, and they are not scriptural. They're not food that was in the word, okay? Sorry that I'm using this voice. I don't know why I am. Now back to Acts 15, you'll notice that they were told to abstain from food polluted by idols. But Acts 15 was way after the Balaam and Balak thing. So what was going on? Well, this was a common problem because all of these feasts and festivals had to do with these pagan deities and their worship, and it was all connected. And they would have, especially in Corinth, they would have these festivals all the time, and people would go to these festivals and they would participate in it. And so what were they telling them? Well, don't go to these festivals and don't eat that food that's been polluted by idols. Just stop. You're Yah's people now. Eat at his table. Eat at his table. The scripture is his table. Yes, we need to do a part 3. And I may yell some more. Yeah, I'll probably yell.